So we just watched episode 2 of
America's Next Well, that's the show that you're on. I don't
Obviously.
know if you know the name.
Cycle 21, and honestly, I don't know how I feel. I feel like it was kind of a lackluster episode that didn't really show us a lot about characters or about the competition in itself, so it was very interesting for me to watch.
I'm upset about the amount of character development, which is 0.
Right, and I mean there was 22 people, so there's you can't
And then
develop
14. I mean, they're cutting you down.
Right.
In the first episode, we got to know everybody a little bit, so I feel like they could have at least had a little bit more developing of the characters and stuff like that. I mean, even though it's reality TV, I still have to consider it like any other TV show.
You have to pick a favorite. You have to find someone that you relate to and that, has a character personality for the show.
Yeah, not that it was like a boring episode. It just like, it didn't feel like, I'm not sure what the appropriate word is. It didn't feel complete because it just felt like, here's a ton of information, but not anything about you guys.
Right, which is, yeah, I agree.
So
I mean, it started off with all of us just finding out that we made top 22, and then going into the house, the hotel actually, and kind of just chit-chatting and talking and kind of getting to know each other, because we still hadn't had a lot of conversation between each other, so we were still learning everything we could about each other. And the first thing we did was literally that night we left the hotel and went at like 2 o'clock in the morning to go to the subway and do our subway challenge with Franco Lacosta, who was from Cycle 20. He did the nail art shoot. And I recognized him right when I got there. I was like, oh god, he was scary.
So you get there. What I want to know is, was it really only a minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
And less, because the first stop, everyone made it. So it was clearly like, everyone makes it, like let's not make it that hard for the first one. And then when we were on the train, it was like, everyone do a photo shoot really quick with Franco. We get off for the second stop, and it was literally maybe a minute. Like it was really quick. So only one person was eliminated. And then the third stop, 14 people were eliminated. 14 people were eliminated.
I know that seems kind of stupid.
And I would honestly say that stop was maybe 30 to 45 seconds. Like it was so quick. And so, I mean, competition. So you gotta do your best, and if you didn't do it fast enough,
then you just completely eliminated everybody.
Right, and so there was only 6 people left for the last 2 stops, and then it ended up being Danny and Matthew. And to me, having them at the end made sense because they were doing really well throughout the whole competition. I mean, granted, if someone else would have made it in the last stop, it would have been fine. I mean, I would have done good. I know I would have done good. Franco loves me. Okay,
so the doors close. What happens in your brain?
I was naked. I was literally standing there at the stop for fall, trying to get on the train. I had my underwear on. I didn't have any clothes on at all, and I was like, yep.
Like a hat or nothing. You're just like.
I had picked out stuff, and I was like, this does not fit. I'm a very large human, and so I was like, this does not fit. I cannot get this over my shoulders. I cannot put this through my arms. I couldn't find anything to fit, and so I was standing there in my britches.
Saboteur.
Right? I was sabotaged.
There's a saboteur.
But I really was sitting there in my underwear, and I was just like, okay, I'm done. I got eliminated because I'm too big.
Did you believe that you were eliminated from the show or just from the competition? I mean, right then you're like, oh god, my chances are shot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that because it was just a challenge, like, they didn't show this in the episode, but with the photo shoot that we were doing with Franco, he would give you feedback for every single person, like point you out and talk to you. And all my feedback was, he was like, you're killing it. You're doing amazing. Your style is better than anyone on this bus. So he's like, you're doing a great job. So when I got eliminated, I was like, dang it. But I got such good feedback that if he is the one that's, you know, choosing or has an input, then I was like, I feel confident. Because there's a lot of people who would go on the bus, they had all their clothes on, even they made it to the finals, and they just looked terrible.
So, Matthew versus Danny, obviously some people, Romeo and followers, have chosen to be against Danny. But like, how much did that actually gain? Like, you know what I'm talking about? I mean, did everybody really care that much about who won the competition between the two of them? Were people more on Romeo's side? Or, I mean, you say you kind of like Danny.
Right, and I mean, I'll be completely honest, I was totally...
rooting?
Side for Danny.
Yeah.
I mean, like, me and him really, not bonded, but we had a connection during the first week of casting, making Top 22, and it was like, when people were fighting with him and calling him out and stuff, there was nothing to back it up. Like, there was no fight. He didn't do anything. So I was just confused as to why everyone was, you know, calling him out.
I mean, because you're jealous and they make you nervous. There's only, like, really one reason people ever do that kind of thing, and it's because you're jealous of them. And he'd already been on the show. He's a huge, huge threat. He's probably the biggest male threat of everybody. I mean, it would make anybody nervous.
Right, and that's why I think Romeo was just kind of like, I don't like Danny, he's already been here once. I think Romeo saw him as a huge threat because to us, because Danny had already been part of the semifinals last year, it was kind of like, okay, maybe he's either guaranteed a spot or has a better shot than all of us. I mean, it's a normal thought process for anyone in the competition that you've already been here and you have experience, you're doing well, you made it to the final two in this competition on the subway, like, you have what it takes to be on the show, and I think that Romeo just felt extremely threatened by him, and that just made him like, I don't like you, I don't like you.
I don't like you. Oh my god, whatever, Romeo's super hot.
God, what?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He is super hot.
Oh my god.
I thought that was like a known fact. Like, everyone full on agrees that Romeo's the hottest thing ever.
That's crazy.
I mean, obviously it's true. He's in the show.
Interesting. But it's funny because the actual fight after the whole Subway Challenge, I mean, I think a lot of people did really well, but I mean, Matthew did do awesome, so I think he deserved to win. I mean, it wasn't me, but once we got back to the hotel, it's interesting because they didn't show the full length of the fight between Danny and Romeo. Danny actually had to leave the room with a group of people and go talk it out in the other room, and then in the other room, like the rest of the cast is talking about it. So it's like going on in two different rooms, and then they come back into the same room, and then it starts going again, but this time more people get involved and like have already taken sides. Mariana's yelling at, she's on Team Romeo, yelling at Danny. I just think they feel threatened. I'm just kind of standing there like, what is going on?
I would be like, yes, let's let them take each other out, and then we will be here.
Right. I mean,
in the end, although that's
me, I was just like, I don't know what to do. I just want y'all to like smile
just
and
smile and be a model.
God. The photo shoot with Yusai, we were all hanging out on the beach for maybe 30 minutes eating s'mores. I love s'mores, so I had like 3. But then Kelly shows up with Yusai, and automatically I'm like, oh my god, you were the crazy, crazy person from Cycle 20.
But amazing.
Oh my god, yeah, Yusai is amazing. And so we all kind of recognized Yusai and got excited, but also like, oh crap, this is going to be bad, because at that moment we were like, oh, he's going to be working with us for one photo shoot, but then he was like, no, I'm going to be with you for the whole competition. And I was like, oh god.
Yeah, did that not inspire you? That made you more nervous than inspired?
It was kind of both. I was like, it's going to be more intense. Like, I feel like Yusai has a very interesting way of critiquing that is harsh, but it's tough love. It literally is just tough love. And so I understood that, but I also understood that he is literally one of the top photographers in the business. So you want to impress him, you want to do well, and you don't want to be broken by what he has to say. So if he yells at you and he says something negative, you don't want to break down. So there's a lot more stress and pressure on all of us to, hold it together.
Keep it together.
Yeah.
That's scary.
And I remember walking on, I was right after Adam. And so Adam, as you can see, is literally doing push-ups and growling and like lifting weights in his photo shoot and like pretending to be in a gym. And I'm literally standing there like, I don't know. I was freaked out. I literally was like, this is ridiculous. I don't know what's going on in this guy's head. I don't know him enough to like make a judgment or like how to feel about him. So I'm standing there getting ready for my turn and I'm just like freaked out. And then Yusai's like, okay, Will, come on. And I'm like, okay, now snap back into it and, get it together. And so I start, doing whatever, posing or whatever. And then the first thing Yusai says to me was like, are you a trained dancer? And I was like, yes.
No kidding.
That's the first thing that Yusai said to me.
Okay, that's awesome.
I know. And I was like, yes. And Yusai was like, me too. I was a dancer.
Shut up.
He was like, I was a dancer when I was younger and I danced for all this kind of stuff. I still do yoga. Like, I understand you. And I was like, this is awesome. Because I've been dancing for a long time, so I can relate and I can learn from people who teach the same way that dancers learn. So it was really cool to get feedback from him while I'm posing from a dancer standpoint, because even though he called me a nutcracker later, like I would do a pose and make it very like hold it and hold it and hold it, and I think that I did a really good job of incorporating contemporary dance into what they wanted and made it look good.
I agree. I feel like that your photo shoot actually got time. A lot of people didn't even get any time. I'm talking about like airtime with how their photo shoot went down. There was only a few of you.
Right, and I think it's weird because a lot of the ending photos for the guys are very generic, very simple, very just statuesque, muscles, not doing much of anything. Besides Romeo, he's very editorial, whatever. And then there's me that's literally like, I have my leg up, my arms are up, I'm twisted, and I'm just...
I love that picture.
It's very unique and something that I bring to the table that no other guy could. And so seeing the final product for every single guy was like, I stand out more than anyone right now. Because I don't look like all of you, for one, and I don't...
model like them.
Right. So
Not
it's just
even
a
a little
different
bit.
dynamic, which was really cool. And I think that made me stand out a whole lot.
So, did you get to watch the other people's photo shoots?
We did. We would stand over there in the sand next to the heaters. It was 35 degrees. Let me just...
I forget it's February.
God, it was so cold. And we were standing over there by the heaters, and there was 2 sets going on at the same time. Susa would go 1-to-1, just switching back and forth. And we would all stay on the side watching everybody. And to me, the 2 people that stood out the most were Ivy.
Really?
They showed a little bit of her photo shoot and they kind of talked about how much of a threat she was. She was literally just killing it that whole time she was up there. And then also, who was the other one? Shy. Shy was murdering.
Oh my god, I love Shy.
God, she just looked...
Okay, just to let you know, in my opinion, of every single person in this photo shoot, she was the best. Like when you look at the group photo and everybody's together, hers is the best. But I also think that's because she got the best outfit.
Right, I mean...
And it might help that her outfit is the bomb.
But
she looks phenomenal.
It's not even like her ending pose. Every single thing that she did was just like... It was so interesting and it was so unique and it was just like... I've never seen it like that before. Your face is matching your pose. Like it was just very on point. And so when she was doing it, all of us were kind of just like, this girl
she is getting it.
Right, and we felt the same way. Like for all of us, we had talked while they were doing it and we're like, Shy and Ivy are 100% gonna be top 14 because they just murdered the whole photo. So we knew that that day was gonna be top 14 decisions, and
Straight up, yeah.
we walk onto this roof, and Tyra's standing there, and it's like, oh God, this is it. This is it. There's 22 of us, and only 14 are gonna make it. And so we're standing there, and she's just like, 2 of you will come up, yada yada yada. She calls up Chantel and Lennox. Chantel makes it, and then she's like, but Lennox, you'll go back into the group, and you may be called back. And so that was kind of like, oh, so it's not like one or the other. It was like one or maybe you and you and you and you. And then she'll pause and she'll be like, well, and she'll pull her face back. It's like, so she does like the tower look, and she was just like, well, and I literally like collapsed to the floor, was like shaking, freaking out, like super crazy. And then I looked at Jamie Ray, and she was like, congrats. And I was like, okay, bye. And then I ran over to Chantel. Gave her a huge hug, and then Tyra was like, yes, well, because you wore those heels, like that was huge.
She said that right
She said that in front of everybody. She was like, those heels, helped you out so much. And I was like, thank God. Thank the Lord Jesus. But
praise.
It's interesting how that all played out, because they would call 2 by 2, and it would be 2 people that have nothing in common, and then one would make it, and the other would step back, and they would be called again, and then it kept rotating around. I honestly, watching it, I loved it, because I was
already done.
I was already done.
So you're like, this is a great way to tell people.
I was second. After I made it, I was like, you can do whatever to these people. I don't care. So it was interesting to watch, and I think that all in all, they picked a great top 14 cast.
Oh,
I'm obsessed with everyone.
I think so too.
Oh, the group photo shoot.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Okay.
It was, oh my God, I loved every second of that, because we all laid down and got kind of in our position, and then Yusai was like, now move. Everyone just like would undulate and like breathe together.
What?
So the whole time they're taking photos, we're just kind of like slowly moving together.
That's awesome.
So 22 people, half naked, are just moving together.
Maybe it's such a tight video.
They took made hundreds of pictures of us. Like, it looked amazing. And the cool thing afterwards is that we actually got to sit down, all 22, and ask Yusai questions. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, so we got to kind of get feedback from him, like asking how he did, if they had any specific critiques for each person. I definitely asked him how to transfer from the dance world to the model world, and he gave me some great advice, and I wish they would have showed that.
Expect from the next episode. What can you tell us?
It gets real. We move into the house, and you'll get to see the absolutely gorgeous place that we'll be living. You'll get to see our first competition on the runway and our first photo shoot, and what I'm most excited for is the opening credits.
Oh my God, yes. Do you want to be on top?
With the top 14, so get ready for that.
You want to be on top?
Watch next Monday, August 25th at 9/8 Central on the CW, and it's gonna be good. And then every Tuesday, make sure you watch our recap of each episode.
21 people.
21.
Thanks.
And
Gig 'em.
Looking good and feeling fine. Looking good and feeling fine. Looking good and feeling fine.